we've got 3 statements here, and your goal is to figure out which of these statements are true, and it might be more than one of them. Let's go through these statement by statement. When Umama slaps Sal and applies a force to his face applies an equal and opposite force to her hand. So let's think about it a little bit. So this is Umama's hand. Let me draw my, I don't want to waste too much time drawing her hand. But let's say that right over there is Umama's hand. It's going in that direction right over there, and it just made contact with my face, and it is slapping me. So this is me right over here. I'm fairly stunned that someone is slapping me. I'm a little bit worried. Where will this lead? So that is me. My face is getting slapped. Let me draw a little bit of hair. So there you go. That's actually a surprisingly accurate portrayal of what I look like. So look at that. All right, so that's Umama's hand. That's my face. So when she slaps me, she is applying a force to my face. And let me draw that force. Let's just say it's going in that, I'll do it in the same color as her hand to show that this force is coming from that hand making contact, pressing against my cheek. So this is the force of Umama's hand on my face and that moment that we're depicting right over here. And it is absolutely the case that my face will then apply an equal and opposite force to her hand. So it might look, let me draw it in that same brown color. So my face is going to apply an equal and opposite force to her hand. And if this doesn't make a lot of sense, if it looks like she's the one inflicting a force on me, applying a force on me, think about it. If you were, and I don't recommend that you do this, you should never, ever, ever slap anyone. But if you ever do hit something with your hand feels that pain. Your flesh will get compressed because as much as you think you are applying the force to the other object is applying the force to you. The only reason why you can even perceive it, why you can feel that pressure, is because that object is applying a force to your hand. So in this case, my face is applying a force to her hand. That's why her hand might also hurt a little bit. So this is absolutely true. Second statement. When I stand on the ground, the earth is pulling me down with a force of 700 newtons. Let's draw this. So let me draw the ground in green. I'm on some type of nice grassy field. And let me draw myself as some type of an egg. This is a nice approximation for what I might look like. So that is me. It's just a rough approximation of me, enough to see that I'm just some object in the universe. So when I stand on the ground, the earth is pulling me down with a force of 700 newtons, which is about how much I actually do weigh. I weigh about 160 pounds, give or take a little bit. So let me draw, and since so let me draw it right over here. So the force of gravity on me is 700 newtons. 700 newtons downwards, or towards the center of the earth, the center of mass of the earth. Luckily, there's a 700 newtons upward normal force from the ground supporting me. Yes, that is lucky. That's bouncing this thing right over here. If it wasn't there, then I might start accelerating towards the center of the earth. So let me draw that normal force. This ground is supporting me. It's bouncing the force of gravity. It's going like that. It's 700 newtons. And then this part of the statement, this normal force is the equal and opposite force that Newton's third law refers to. And so this force is there. There's a normal force. It is supporting me the way I've depicted right here. But this is not the equal and opposite force that Newton's third law refers to. This is a balancing force. It's a force that is the same magnitude going in the opposite direction, acting on the same body. The equal and opposite force that Newton's third law refers to, each of the forces apply to different bodies. You see it right over here. You have the force that her hand is applying to my face. The equal and opposite force is not applying to my face. It's being applied to her hand. If it was both applied to the face, then they would always be netting out, and you would never actually ever have any net force. So this is absolutely not true. The normal force is not the equal and opposite force. Well, what is the equal and opposite force? Well, the equal and opposite force is if you call the action force what the earth tugging on me downwards, the reaction force is me tugging on the earth. So let me make this clear. If I were to draw the whole earth, right over there, and if I were to draw me unusually large right over there, we know that the earth is tugging down on me with a force of 700 newtons towards the center of the mass of the Earth, but gravity is symmetric. I will also be tugging on the Earth with a force of 700 newtons. This is the equal and opposite force. This 700 Newton force that I'm tugging on the Earth is what we're talking about. The two forces, the equal and opposite forces, are not acting on the same body. They're acting on each of the bodies that are interacting with each other. So this is definitely not true. And then finally, we have this statement. Because every force has an equal and opposite force, they always balance out to zero net force. And once again, this would be the case if the equal and opposite forces were acting on the same body, but that is not the case. The equal and opposite forces are acting on different bodies. And obviously, forces can't always net out to zero, because then you would never have any net force and you would never actually see anything accelerate. So this right over here is also false. The equal and opposite force, they don't act on the same body. These right over here, these are balancing forces. These are a function of the environment of this egg or me in this situation. This is not the equal and opposite force. The equal and opposite force, the opposite forces are acting on different bodies, like we drew right over here, So they don't net out when you think about what are the net forces on one of the bodies. So the only statement that is true here is statement 1.